Greetings, you're listening to the Cold Call Lawcast, the Minnesota Law School podcast featuring students from the University of Minnesota Law School, the University of St. Thomas School of Law, and the Mitchell-Hamlin School of Law. Welcome everyone to the Cold Call Lawcast. I'm Mitch, a law student from the University of St. Thomas
School of Law. Oh, sorry. Continue.
School of Law.
I'm just playing some soothing train noises for our listeners.
Welcome
School of Law. That's where you're at.
No, I'll just start again. Welcome everyone to the Cold Call Lawcast. I'm Mitch, a law student from the University of St. Thomas School of Law, and with me are my co-hosts Hannah from the University of Minnesota Law School, Anthony from the Mitchell-Hamlin School of Law, and Abby.
Hi.
From the University of Minnesota Law School. On today's episode, this is actually the last episode of the season, so we will see everybody again in 2019 with a new episode. And with us today is Navin.
Hi.
Awesome. So welcome. You're a 1L from the University of Minnesota, and you are our last guest for the season. So.
I feel so special. Thanks for having me. Thanks to Abby for inviting me.
That's right. Because you as a 1L with Abby, are you in her same class?
Yeah, we are quasi section mates.
Yeah.
We have 6 sections this year because of the quote unquote Trump bump. It used to be one.
Is that what they're calling it?
That's what they're calling it. That's what the cool kids are calling it. It used to be like 180, 190 folks. Now it's like 240.
Oh, damn.
that's even higher than I
We have big
thought.
sections. We have like
Yeah.
80, 90 people in some sections.
And the class size for St. Thomas also increased from like 120 to 150 or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think.
Trump bump,
Trump
yeah.
bump. We don't have
Yeah,
jobs.
it's been across the board.
Excellent.
Wait, so which section are you in?
I'm in F, the last one. Abby is in E.
I'm an E.
So we have 3 classes together?
Yeah, do you guys know the gender makeup of your class? Because my class was the first time ever that it was majority female, and it was
ours
like
is
51.
majority female, but I don't know the percentage.
I think it might be around 55.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Trump
Yeah.
bump is
Oh, wow.
It's real.
female.
Yeah, the latest one for St. Thomas was 54%, so that's pretty good. I know for when I did my MBA at another Catholic school, Notre Dame, which didn't even become, which was like segregated out females completely until like the mid 70s.
Wow.
So I think my graduating class was like 20% female, maybe 25%. We had like a terrible time attracting females to Notre Dame.
Tell us
to get
more
to Notre
about
Dame.
your life.
Until I came around, and then it bumped up to like 50, 60%.
Oh, pro tip for the U of M students or anybody at the library. If you walk in the library on the first floor and go immediately to the right, and there's like a study section back in the corner, and there's always like a bunch of pictures on the wall. There are some awesome pictures from the class of like 1942, I think. There's one woman. And she was also on the law review, and they made her stand in like the middle of the picture of the whole law class. And I was like, I want to know her story. I tried to Google her, but I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, I like those pictures, especially the ones from around 60s and 70s. They're like straight out of a Richard Linklater movie. It's like kind of those. Some were just like not even wearing shirts. They were just out. It was summer, I guess. Bell bottoms and stuff. It's very representative of the era.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got some good picks.
And so the dying question that we all want to know is
Dying
what is it
question.
like
question
being
we're
in class
dying.
with Abby? How amazing is it to be in class with her?
It really is amazing. I'm not being facetious. Abby is law school can be a little bit of cliquey and catty, right? Super insular.
That's just
people,
Hannah. Yeah.
some people, some
click
people,
of
call it Mondale High, quote unquote. But Abby is one of more friendlier people.
Of course, that's
You
why
know.
she is our most eligible bachelorette right now.
I really don't talk in class. So.
That's why people like you.
No, I mean, she's super friendly. I remember the first E&F mixer that we had. You were one of the folks who actually came up to us and talked to us. Like, we were a bunch of folks just hanging out, and we were like a little, I don't want to say threatened or something, but when you go to a social event, there are a lot of people talking, and you have these inhibitions and stuff, but Abby just like, she just straight up came to us and talked and put us at ease and stuff. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Why is she slipping you money right now? She's doing that.
Yeah, just breaking down barriers between sections.
And so, so before you came to law school, what were you doing, and where are you from? Because from your accent, I can kind of tell you're not from Wisconsin or anything like that, right?
Rude.
I'm
So
from
give
Texas.
us a little, give us a little.
Yeah,
bit about your
sure.
background.
That's a good segue, for me to kind of apologize to your audience, because they can probably tell I'm not a native speaker of English. So if they have
You'll be
any
fine.
trouble understanding my accent, they have to rewind and
You speak
listen,
better
if
than
it's-
Mitch.
Yeah.
See, I love that. Like when everyone's just like, "Oh, please excuse my maybe broken English." This isn't my first language. Where like you speak better than 90% of the people who are naturally English.
I appreciate you guys.
You speak better than Trump. So
Yeah. Well, come on, that's not very high bar.
you're right. You're right.
Come on,
That's an
so-
insult. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But appreciate that. Yeah, I'm originally from southern India.
Okay.
I speak a language called Tamil, and I am a Tamil. Tamil. It's a language, it's an ethnicity, and it's a state. The state that I'm from is called Tamil Nadu, which literally means country of Tamils.
Okay.
And I'm incredibly proud of my heritage. It's the language and culture is at least 2,500 years old. The reason I'm saying at least is because there are still archaeologists working on recovering lost manuscripts and even like recovering lost cities in the ocean. So, when people talk about some of the oldest languages in the world, the classical, quote unquote, classical languages, they talk about Old Greek, Chinese, Hebrew, Sanskrit, and Tamil. And only Chinese and Tamil are quote unquote living languages, meaning there are people still talking in the language, there are people still creating literature in this language. There are like over 3,000 dailies that are being produced in Tamil Nadu alone in Tamil. Languages like Hebrew and Sanskrit, they are relegated to academia, right? Like, there's no active speakers. There's still research going. So that's my background. I tell people, I'm Indian because that's what it says in my passport, but I'm more a Tamil. Because, the analogy that I give people is India is like Europe.
Okay.
And if India were Europe, Tamil Nadu would be something like, Germany or Italy or something like that, in terms of its economic status, in terms of its cultural status.
So what's kind of size of the country does it actually represent?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be pulling this statistic out of thin air, but
okay,
I
we
would
do that
say,
all the
time.
I,
we do.
I would say somewhere around the size of France.
Oh, okay.
wow.
I mean, compared to the US is what, like 330 million population. India is like 1.3 billion, 4 or 5 times the population, but just 1/5 of the land area. So
it gets
it's
a little
more
tight, a
people
little
packed
tight.
into less land area. The density is high. So I would say like, Italy or France, it's not that big. Even England, not just England, Wales, Scotland,
whole
the British
UK.
Isles, if you were to
Okay.
just clump them together, it would be just that size. So yeah, I'm originally from Tamil Nadu, a city called Chennai. I tell gullible white people that my city is so cool it's got 2 names, but almost all Indian cities have 2 names. One's a colonial one and one's a native one. So the name that the British, actually the Portuguese before the British defeated the Portuguese and the French, the name the Portuguese gave was Madras.
Okay.
So that's the name of the city that I was born and raised in. And post-independence after 1947, but as a way of reclaiming, whatever was left of colonialism, they started renaming cities, and now it's called Chennai. So Chennai, Madras is where I was born and raised in. I went to college nearby Chennai, 80 miles south in a nice college town. Like almost all brown people, I went to college for computers, and because that's what I was supposed to do. Right, those were one of a couple of options that I had.
And so is that ultimately what you got your undergrad in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Technically my graduate, my college degree is called Bachelor of Technology in Information Technology. So it's as
It has
much
technology in there twice.
As they wanted to communicate that to the employers. This is a tech person, hire them, because we are very practical people. I mean, I had thoughts of studying history or political science, but my parents, I don't want to play the smallest violin in the world, but my parents came from lower middle class background, so they're very pragmatic, practical people. What's gonna be the return on investment? What's gonna make you attractive to employer? What can you do? How can you pay back the student loans and stuff? So those were the factors that were,
Those are exactly what my parents were too.
So did you go to law school despite them then?
No, I mean I'm at a stage where I have the luxury and privilege of making my own decisions. I'm like 31 years old. So it was a decade-long plan to get
So
law
you're
school.
young.
Yeah,
Super young.
I'm one of the
Yeah.
younger kids. That's what got me here.
And so what did you do? What did you do between your undergrad and before coming to law school?
Yeah, so post college, I worked for a small startup organization. It was a software company. I was a developer. I was a software developer
In India, right?
Yeah, in India. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, in Chennai. I lived there for 2 to 3 years, and then I came stateside for graduate school. Like millions of other brown kids from the subcontinent. Usually from Asia, there's like a very strong population of folks coming here for grad school. I went to University of Cincinnati.
Okay.
In Cincinnati, Ohio. It was a 1-year program. It was a 1.5-year program, but you had
What
the
was
option
it in?
It was in quantitative analysis.
Okay.
Again,
Cool.
a very practical.
Are you sure it wasn't quantitative analysis of quantifiables?
No, they were that transparent. It was like a little more subtle. That was in Cincinnati. After that, I moved to Minneapolis.
Okay.
Good choice.
I was fortunate enough to get a job. I moved to Minneapolis. I lived here for 3 years. I was working for a organization called Deloitte Consulting, and after that,
Accounting firm.
they called themselves the quote unquote
Drink.
Big Four, quote unquote Big Four accounting firm, and then I moved to Chicago. I lived in
Okay.
Chicago for 3 years. A pretty similar firm like Deloitte in Chicago was with Ernst & Young. And then, I realized I was not American enough without a mountain of student debt. So I decided to come to law school.
Cool.
Yeah,
Makes
that's my
perfect
story.
sense. Yeah.
Are you still working?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I cannot do anything.
Are you
beyond-
full-time, part-time?
I'm full-time.
They
Okay.
only
Yeah,
have
we
a
only have full-time.
full-time
Oh,
program.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is full-time and a half for me. It's just I'm not used to reading this amount and quantity, and it takes a lot of time for me, because I have to do these translations, nanosecond translation to understand stuff. Yeah, I could not have done anything else.
Have you seen that as a big barrier? Because I know, reading some of the older cases, they use language that we don't typically use.
I mean, I despise that. So
my
it's hard
God.
for me to understand, and I speak English. So, does it become more
Yeah.
difficult for you?
I mean, I love Justice Cardozo. I'm supposed to like him. He's a New York Democrat, and stuff and all. But this is this is verbatim what I posted after reading Paul's graph. The minute after I read Paul's graph, I posted this on my Slack. I told my friends that I love Cardozo. I'm supposed to, but he's a major douche canoe. the same message that he wanted to communicate in that case, he could have done it so much differently. The very next page I turned, the dissent was just like it was like super